2026 is going to be an awesome year. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up. First off, we got Foundations of Recovery. This is our flagship program. We're starting it in January.
This is for anyone, man, woman, or couple who wants to come and reclaim their heart from shame, trauma, and betrayal. We start off with an education on all sorts of principles, give you the common language. We feed you from a fire hose in terms of all things recovery.
It is such a great start to recovery. And we get at the roots of things, Tyler. This isn't like any other program. Like, this is our healing journey in process, and Foundations is where we begin.
If you look at the value that you're getting there to kick off a good recovery with all of the right education, all of the right language, and a team to get you started while also being directed by Brannon and myself through the whole process, what a deal.
So if you're interested, if you're struggling, if you've been wanting to do something for a long time, jump into this. This only comes around every so often, and we would love to have you there.
Click the link in the description to sign up for it. And to make it even sweeter, we're also including a raffle for a free pass to the Radiant Dawn retreat. Anyone who signs up for Foundations will be added to the raffle for that free Radiant Dawn pass. If you're a man and you sign up for Foundations, your name still gets entered, and you can give that pass away if you win it to any woman that you want to.
So what you're saying, Tyler, is if you sign up and participate in Foundations, you could possibly go to Radiant Dawn for free?
That's exactly what I'm saying, which is crazy because Foundations by itself is already an insane value.
Man, I sound so salesy. But it actually is awesome. So come to Foundations. And even if you don't come to Foundations, sign up for Radiant Dawn. It's beyond therapy, the best healing experiences that you can have.
Click the link below and come join us.
How do I take what I'm learning and actually implement it into my recovery?
Welcome to the Real Talk Recovery Podcast with the Therapy Brothers.
We're brothers, we're therapists, and we know recovery.
Bring your stories, your questions, your successes with real recovery.
Brannon, got another sweet guest coming on with us today. I'm excited about it. Before we do anything, I just wanted to throw a shout out to the people who are leaving us reviews. Here's another one that just came through this week from Brumby Cole 21. It says profound and life altering. It says, I love the Therapy Brothers. This podcast has saved my life in a sense. I've learned how to regain my power and finally work to a place of peace. My heart goes out to Anne. Her episode resonated with me so much that I listened to it twice. It felt like they were talking to me. She's so brave to have endured such high amounts of betrayal for so long. I've been at it for 3.5 years with my spouse. I didn't realize the constant gaslighting and minimizing of his actions caused me to sacrifice my values for way too long in order to keep the relationship. I'm now separated. I'm grieving the loss of what could have been, but the overarching feelings I experience on the daily are safety and peace, which didn't exist while I was with him. And for that, I'm grateful. Divorce is now in full effect, and although it isn't ever what I pictured for my life, that break from the crazy is just what I needed to find myself. I was searching for it in my relationship, but could never obtain it there. I'm grateful these men teach us how to create safety for ourselves despite the damaging choices of others. Grateful to know I still have a choice. I still have power to unlock within me. Thank you for sending out such a powerful message for those in need, in hope and light. Keep at it, brothers.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that was awesome. Sounds like she's on quite a journey too.
Yeah, sounds like there's definitely plenty of ups and downs still too.
She's in the midst of it all. So, well, Tyler, you can barely talk today.
Yeah, I lost my voice basically the day after the Rising Sun retreat that we just finished up a little while back. I lost my voice and got sick, and I thought I was better, but I'm not this week. So hopefully next week.
Oh, COVID almost killed you. So now it's like when you get sick, it hits you hard.
Yeah,
I think I got a little tickle in my throat after the conference, and then I've been fine.
Maybe you got all the good genetics from
No, not at all. But I think you need to stop and just like get a little bit of sleep or something.
Yeah, that might be it. That's what my wife says. She says it's my workaholism that's actually preventing me from getting better.
Yeah, well,
she could be right.
Maybe you need to take a look at that a little bit. I don't know.
She's probably right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, well, I'm glad you're here today, but I hope you get some rest today and take care of yourself.
We will for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
All right. So, Austin, welcome to the show.
Hey, yeah, how are you guys?
Good. It's good to have you. If you want to just start by just giving us a little bit of background, tell us what's going on with you, give us some context, and then ask away. Ask any questions you have.
Yeah, for sure. So, Austin, currently living in Iowa. I grew up in Georgia. I started recovery, I want to say my freshman year of college, like sophomore year.
Okay.
Didn't realize how much of an issue it was, like with pornography and stuff, until I got into college. Didn't really grow up in church as a kid, which is weird because, like, being from down south, like, everybody goes to church whether they want to or not. So it was interesting. So I went to college and got around people who, like, actually taught people what it meant to, follow Jesus. And so it was kind of a wake up call for me. So I've been in this recovery journey. Just got married married 2 years ago during COVID. So that was fun. And then my wife and I just welcomed our first child.
Oh, congratulations.
September 9th. So if I'm sleepy, it's for a good reason.
Yeah.
And then, I think that's just kind of the thing I'm running off of, is just, low sleep.
Yeah.
And first couple of years of marriage. So.
Okay. So you say you work in recovery. Are there still struggles going on, or?
Yeah, for sure. So I've done some work with, I don't know if you guys know Husband Material, like Drew Boa, any stuff like that. So Drew Boa is like out of California. He does some stuff. So I do some coaching through that particular platform. So just coaching calls, doing some curriculum stuff through, from them. But it's been like I've definitely seen some transitions, some like healing for sure, but it's been one of those things where it's kind of like reoccurring. And so I'm in this phase of like learning, like, that's not like, pornography is not so much the issue. It's you're trying to cover up for something, or, just like cover up for something. So I am learning that, but I'm in the season of like, how do I implement that? Like, how do I start to actually see recovery happen long term, and kind of turn a corner, I guess.
Say more. You're trying to cover up for something. Like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, sorry. So like unwanted emotions, stuff like that. So I've used it as a kind of a way to cope, I guess, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
Like for those feelings or emotions or anything.
To numb
like
out.
Yeah.
Avoid pain. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So those are your triggers, your emotional internal triggers that you're having a hard time knowing how to cope with those things in a healthy way. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay. So when did this all start? How old were you?
I remember first being exposed to just kind of like magazines when I was a little kid.
Okay.
I don't remember what exact age, but I know it was before third grade. So whenever that is. But I would say the addiction really picked up high school. I mean, like, it was around middle school, because you're in middle school and middle school sucks. So but I would say it really picked up like high school, junior year, and then just kind of led into more. So yeah.
Was it a daily thing?
Yeah, for sure. It was a daily thing in junior year. And then just kind of from that point, there was like spurts off and on once I got to college, but it was kind of like, you develop the addiction at that point. So it was kind of like trying to quit cold turkey. It doesn't always work that way, especially if you're in recovery. A lot of people know that. So
right. So
Austin, has it ever gone to other behaviors other than like your pornography stuff? Has it moved to other parts of your life in any ways?
Yeah, for sure. And not like substance abuse or anything like that. But when I was in high school, like, obviously I played sports growing up. Baseball has like always been my sport. So like just locker room stuff, like that's always tough in high school. So, I mean, yeah, like comparison game, learning like compared to different people in school. But yeah, it definitely led to like other physical things with other people in high school, which is another like, I wish someone would tell you when you're in high school that that's going to affect your marriage in the future. But as a high school kid, you don't really think about it. But my wife has been super supportive, but it's just kind of one of those things where I'm like, been in this cycle of recovery, trying to figure it out and just really want to get over it. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, it moved to like more physical things, like me ended up having sex with other people and stuff like that. So.
Gotcha.
What, I know we're digging here a little, Austin, and you can
go for it.
You can tell us if you don't want to answer some of this stuff, but what was relationship like with mom and dad for you?
So I'm an only child.
Okay.
So I mean, it was good. I'm learning that, especially now as a parent, you just inherently hurt your kids unintentionally.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying now that I have a child. No, but my dad worked a lot. When I was little, my mom, I'm still trying to figure that out, was kind of like I was her full-time job when I was younger. And then when I started to go to school full-time, she eventually got a job. But we've had this like weird dynamic of like, she takes care of me, which is great, but kind of too much. I don't know if that makes sense. Of like,
she hovers over you.
Yeah, sometimes, but they were also very like emotionally distant. So it was like a weird dynamic of like, I'm going to fix everything for you, but I'm not gonna. Like junior year just went through a really like bad spell of like depression and just like anxiousness, anxiety, like didn't want to go to school. And instead of like, and I know their intentions were good, but at the same time, you have to be honest and realize like maybe it wasn't the best move.
Yeah.
But like instead of like maybe sending me to counseling or anything like that, it was like, we're just going to put you on medicine and you'll figure it out, you know? So, so looking back on that was like pretty tough. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like the way you kind of explain that, Austin, because it's not about blame toward them or resentment or anything like that, but it is about getting real with where you came from and what kind of, as a child, what kind of messages and beliefs about yourself that you took on.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I want to ask you that. So with that type of parenting going on, what kind of things did you start to feel and believe about yourself?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this has always been pretty tough for me too, is like learning, like self-reflecting as to kind of what that looks like. I think with my parents being very emotionally distant, it's hard for me to pick up on what I'm feeling emotionally or like what I'm like, what I need, or like, what did I experience in the moment? On the contrary though, like with them being very like, we'll fix anything. We didn't really talk about much, but we would like, if someone had a problem, we'd fix it. I'm very good at like reading what other people need. So it's very frustrating to like know like, oh yeah, this person probably feels very left out. And I'm like, I have no idea how I feel in this situation. So yeah, as a kid, I mean, there was a lot of messages of like, I don't know if I got so much of them from my parents as much as I got them from just like being a high schooler in general. Like you got to live up to an expectation, or like, I was always like a smaller kid. So I'm like very average, like over average height for a male. But as a kid, I just told myself that I was like too skinny or whatever. And that was kind of the message that I heard in high school. And so maybe, you know, from those experiences, it was like a not being good enough, or like a powerlessness that comes from that. But I've also, in doing some coaching calls recently with the guy that I do it with, he's awesome. I've just started to learn like there was the relationship that I was in high school kind of maybe led to some like betrayal stuff, really feeling like overlooked, which is, it just, I don't know, the tension that I feel is like, I don't have one of those stories where like my spouse has been, you know, going behind my back for years. And so I don't want to, I feel bad for saying like, yeah, as a high school junior, like a junior in high school, like I feel like I'm like went through this betrayal trauma, when I'm like, I don't know, I don't want to overplay it, if that makes sense.
Sure. That makes sense. I think, but what you're saying now is kind of getting to where Brannon was going with you, is that like you were growing up in a certain way with a certain situation, with a certain set of circumstances that was just your life. And because it was just your life, you weren't cognizant or actually aware at the time of what the beliefs were that you were forming about yourself, about relationships, about your life. They were just forming because that's the life you had.
Yeah.
And now that you're getting into recovery, you go back and you look at that and you go, oh, does that belief have to be true? Does that belief? It was significant for a junior in high school to feel betrayed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
A junior in high school felt betrayed. Right. So that's just it. So it's like to go back and take a look at those things is a good starting point to say, okay, now I'm starting to unravel these things that were automatic in my life for as long as I can remember. I get to actually go make some decisions on whether or not I want these beliefs to continue to be true for me as I move forward in my recovery.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of it too was like just starting to build habits on like how to handle emotions, because I didn't know how to. I didn't really have an outlet. For context, I work in a church now. My wife and I both work at a church in Iowa, and then I didn't go to church in high school, but I started dating a pastor's daughter, which like, don't do that. I don't recommend it.
They call that flirt to convert.
Yeah, right. And then the pastor, of course, was like, hey, if you're going to date my daughter, you have to go to church. And as a high school kid, you're like, sure. Like if that's all the expectations you have for me, I can meet that. So I started going through there, and that's kind of where like I found like my faith, something that, I really have like evolved into and loved it. But at the same time, like anytime that relationship was bad, it involved the youth group. It involved one of the guys that she was talking to at the same time was like on the baseball team with me. So it was kind of like everywhere I went. And so there was no like escape or let up except through like things on the internet. So it's easy to see, I guess, the connection of that.
In the way you coped emotionally, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You didn't have the outlet, and so you ended up pursuing that place that then became a habit. Now it's hard to be breaking those habits, even though you're learning these new things and realizing that there's a new way of life. It's hard to fathom why and how you're not having it sink in to your heart, what you're learning in your head.
Yeah. So like as an adult, like you understand the things like, oh yeah, it makes perfect sense that like I use this as a way to numb out of emotions, or like someone uses the substance to numb out. But it's like, okay, I understand it, but like, how do I implement it and like change it and start to turn a corner, I guess, is the hard part for me.
Austin, man, I want to say, like, you got a light about you that's awesome.
It's
and
good.
Your, I don't know if it's your son or your daughter is lucky to have you as their dad.
Yeah.
And all those things are true. And the adversary is going to come at you hard because of that. And I want to give you an analogy here. If I were making cookies and instead of putting in sugar, I put salt in the recipe, and then I baked it up, how would it taste?
Salty, probably.
Salty. So that I'm like, dang it, it tastes bad. So I'm going to bake it different. And I'm going to add a little extra chocolate chips, and I'm going to but salt is still kind of the main, ingredient, one of the main ingredients. How would it taste?
Probably still like salty chocolate.
So it's salty chocolate. Yum. And so there's dimensions. I'll tie this in a second. There's dimensions to treatment and recovery. And one of the first reasons why you use porn and you act out is because simply it feels good. Like you're a man, you like women, it feels good. You get dopamine, right? So it's tempting because it feels good. If we go down a dimension further, and this is kind of where you're at with your coaching, it's, I'm using that feel good feeling to escape other feelings. Yeah. So when I'm bored or I'm stressed or I'm lonely, I can fill that void with this quick and easy hit that's right there on my phone, and voila, like I don't need to sit in pain. That's dimension number 2. And all these things are actually important to look at. But if you focus on dimension number 2, then you're still baking cookies with salt. Nothing's going to really shift. And the reason is because we're still not down to the very root of where this addiction is coming from.
Yeah.
Are you following me?
Yeah, no, I 100%.
And so it's awesome to like get some mindfulness tools, to learn how to regulate your emotions, to learn how to like really like tool up around that emotional stuff so that you can process and navigate your emotions. That's awesome. But that will not get you to where you want to go when it comes to like real full recovery. And so, where I've been kind of questioning you and pushing you a little bit is trying to figure out what are the roots here. Like let's take a look at the salt here. What is that? Because once we can, in a very loving, compassionate way, accept what those roots are, not in a we're fighting against it and it's horrible and your parents are horrible, not in that way, but like let's just take a look at this salt. We can become conscious of it and you can start to replace that salt with sugar. And so to me, you have little t trauma all over the place. Do you know what I mean by that?
Explain little t trauma, Brannon, because a lot of our listeners won't understand that.
I think most, like when you're the only child, I think little t trauma is built in.
Great. That's good to know.
Yeah. You think, oh, how awesome. Like I'm going to get all the love and this and that. One of the best things for a child is to have some space and to like experience the world and to be allowed to fail because mom and dad aren't watching. And so there, that in and of itself is traumatic, that there's someone taking care of every last need that you've ever had. Right. So think about it. Like you're struggling, dealing with pain and difficult emotion. Well, mom was always there to kind of help you avoid that. It sounds like, Also, you mix that kind of caretaking, hovering with the emotional disconnect. And I think there's a subtle message there as a child. It's like something was missing. And it, probably unconsciously made you wonder about what do I need to do to get love? I don't know, Austin, what do you think?
Yeah, for sure. And I get the roots thing. Like I mentioned before, like the guy who I learned from a lot, his name's Drew Boa, does some stuff out of California, but he uses the term of like porn as a pacifier. So it's so I'm in this place now of like trying to figure out, okay, I see the action, like the action's bad. I see like the circumstances in which led to the actions. Like I'm trying to come at those with kindness and like lean into them and kind of understand like what it was like to be a kid and understand that, like, cause like for a while I was just kind of pissed at my junior year self. Like, how could be an idiot and just get so upset about this certain relationship? Like looking back on it now, I'm like, it was terrible. Like, why did you do that? But as a kid, like you don't know that.
Right.
And then trying to lean even further back into my story and kind of be like, okay, what was I telling myself as far as like my identity, like my person, just like who I was. And I feel like I've had a couple things that I feel like God's really shown me. And one was just like, I really had this desire to be seen. As a kid, like it's funny, as an only child, you were only seen by your parents, but like not seen, I guess, like a deeper scene. And then this other one was just like a fear of missing out. I don't know if that comes from being an only child too. So moral of the story, don't be an only child, but like, I don't know where that comes from. I don't know. And that's the hard part, is like working through them.
Man, do you see how porn fits right in there? A desire to be
for sure. Yeah,
fear
absolutely.
Of missing out. Yeah.
Like, and that's the hard part, is like, I see how it fits in and I completely understand it. And I feel like I have so many different like people I'm learning from as far as like So I only started listening to you guys like a month ago, but I've listened to like half the episodes. So like
nice.
that tells you a little bit about my personality anyway. Like between you guys, Drew Boa, Jenna Reber Smub with her like internal family systems, like I feel like I got a bunch of different angles, but
nice.
Wanting it to click, I think is hard. Yeah, and it's frustrating. Like like feeling like you have the tools and the answers, but not really seeing the change, I think, come from that.
Yeah, there's a couple thoughts I'm having as you're talking, Austin. Like everything that you're describing, I think Brannon and I would probably both agree on this, that if we were trying to do an assessment on where you're at in your recovery, you're right where you should be, man. Like you're doing really good work. Like you're digging into yourself. You're trying to understand yourself. You're trying to meet yourself with compassion. You're trying to see those patterns that are there. You're also on the day-to-day living. It sounds like you're engaged in some really good things. You're learning some emotional coping skills. Sounds like you're engaged in your coaching and your treatment, and you're trying to soak up all the information you can get. And you're having this disconnect between all the things you're learning in your day-to-day, all the things that are going on from your past, and they just haven't quite lined up yet. But I think where Brannon was going is basically saying, if we can continue to make peace with and treat those parts of yourself that were the things pursuing the acting out in the first place, the more that those get attention in terms of compassion and understanding and clarity, the more likely that all of the good things you're doing in your day-to-day will start to connect. So we often teach this principle of like, we teach this concept called dailies, which is like, you need to be engaged in certain things every day. And people take that and think, I won't act out if I do my checklist. And that's not what Brannon and I mean when we say dailies. The dailies are the things that I intentionally do to pursue connection with my heart.
Self-love.
To pursue an actual emotional experience with the best part of myself today. And they happen to look a lot like the checklist I've been doing. But if I'm doing them with the intention of connecting my heart, they become way more valuable than the checklist to not act out.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. And like checklists and like routines, as a 25-year-old kid, like it's really hard to like stay disciplined. Especially like working in a church, man. I mean, your schedule is just kind of like all over the place. And there's a certain amount of pressure that comes from that too. But like, just like staying disciplined has been really difficult for me. And I don't know if that comes from like a childhood thing or what that even looks like too.
But you need to apply some grace, right? So you might be disciplined yesterday. You might struggle today. And that grace is important for the long-term success. So, but I want to come back to what Tyler was saying, Austin. It's like you played baseball. What position did you play?
I was middle infield.
Okay. So, like learning how to get a grounder, right? You can study it. You can like watch film. You can have a coach tell you how to like get a grounder and to field that, right? But how do you actually learn it?
A lot of fun goes on the infield.
Yeah, did you ever get hit in the face or anything?
All the time, especially with braces. Those are the worst. Don't do that. Don't recommend it.
I remember when I was learning baseball, my dad was like, "Hey, just keep your mitt on the ground. Like don't flinch. Don't It
doesn't work like that.
These heaters are coming right at you, and it's like you're this little kid, like, holy crap, that thing's gonna kill me. But the only way that you actually start to gain some confidence in knowing how to field those grounders is by like hanging in there, sticking in there, and like going for it.
Experience.
And that's what I'm getting at, what Tyler just said. So you're 25 and you're learning a lot. But ultimately it's experiential. It's about putting yourself on the field, and having compassion for yourself, but acting directly against those shameful messages and identities that you have. So when you say, what were two of them that you said? You said,
I think one of them was like to be seen, and then the other one was like missing out on something. I don't.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
what-
So that's it. So what you're saying when I want to be seen is you're saying I don't feel like I'm seen.
Yeah.
I
heard a common theme of not being chosen.
Yeah.
And so you're gonna set up all kinds of stuff in your life that are like trying to feel seen, but not face that demon head on, which is, it's really scary to feel like I'm not gonna be seen. How do I sit in that? How do I deal with that feeling? And so much so that I know that God sees me even when I'm alone, even when my wife's pissed at me. Like I can still be okay. And you'll have plenty of opportunity, but you got to find out all the places that you're trying to avoid that feeling in order to have the opportunity to step into that feeling. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. And I think my follow-up question too with that is like, what is that, like practically, what does that look like? I mean, because you hear people talk about it all the time, but you're like, okay, how do I actually implement that? Like, I don't, I think for me, the disconnect.
What do you do to try to be seen? Do you like try to get up in church and talk? Do you try to, or do you shy away because you feel like I'm not seen, so I'm not going to do that?
I mean, yeah, I get to host and stuff on a Sunday morning. So I see that. I'm very cautious with that because I don't want it to come off as like, I don't want to say not being seen too much, but I'm just very aware of like, I don't know if my character is where it needs to be be in front of a bunch of people yet, just because like I'm very wary of that, and it freaks me out.
Do you hear it, Tyler?
Yeah,
you see
100%.
There's an opportunity right there.
Yeah, 100%. And I'd like for you to contrast what you just said with Brannon, and I want you to like tell me if I'm wrong, Brannon, but his character has shown through in our conversation here in the last 30 minutes.
Right.
100% quality of character. And here you are on a show where who knows how many thousands of people are going to listen to this, showing up authentically in your character, and you're afraid to go to church and do the same thing.
And Satan's right there saying, hey, like be careful because you're not worthy. You're not worthy. And so the experiential here is to step into some confidence and ownership of who you are, knowing that you're worthy even in your imperfection.
Yeah.
And to like practice that, like, hey, I'm going to speak up. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to look straight at these people, and I'm going to own myself and who I am. And it's going to be extremely uncomfortable to do that because all those other messages are going to try to not have you do it. Right. Go ahead, Austin.
Yeah. Cause there's even moments like, and I share this with my wife a lot of times. Like I'm pretty goofy. Like I pretty much own that, and that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like I appreciate it.
Right.
But there are times where like I kind of shy away from that just because you work in ministry. Like there are times where it's super serious and you got to learn how to like work with it, and that's cool. Like you work with it, that's fine. Like it's part of the job. But I think there's a lot of times where I will get angry at particular people on staff or something like that, just because like I feel like there's a particular mold I have to fit, or like it just like it doesn't. And so I don't know if that comes into play of like, hey, I don't feel like my character, like my personality is actually being seen.
Yeah.
And that's the quickest way for me to, and I've noticed this now, especially being out as a dad, like anger has been such a, like I'm not an angry person, or I'm not like outwardly angry to a bunch of people, but like it's really strong. Like I feel it. And so like working through that. So what that looks like, that's the quickest way for me to be able to like feel that anger pop up. I don't know if that made sense.
Mm-hmm. What I'm hearing is God's calling you to be a change agent there, to bring some real authenticity and just some not falling into the rigid mold of things. That anger is important for you to listen to, and then that courage to act on that anger in an effective way. That's your best therapy. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Can you explain like effective way? Like what is that?
Let me ask a question real quick to get to that.
Yeah.
Austin. What is underneath the anger? What's pushing the anger?
I would say feeling a little disrespected, I think, or kind of looked down on, because once again, like a tool, I realized like anger is not, it's a secondary emotion. So like, where's it coming from? And so like trying to figure out like, what did I feel in the moment of like that, like I felt disrespected. Like I felt kind of like embarrassed or like looked down on in the moment.
Belittled maybe.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So the anger is coming up because you have certain values, namely being respected, being treated with kindness or fairness. Those things are valuable to you. And they just got stepped on, and now your anger is coming up as a result of that. Where anger is unhealthy is that you act only in the anger and you go and do or say something that's stupid that you feel bad about yourself afterwards. But anger is the energy, it's the motivation to take action towards your values.
Yeah.
So now you get a chance to use that energy towards your values, which means you're not going to go do something you regret, but you also get to stand up for the things that are important to you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
So on a practical level, you have boundaries with the preacher who's over you. I'm just making stuff up, right?
Yeah, you're good.
Or you have like, and when I say boundaries, you stand up and you say, I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me. Or, I can't do that. Or you put yourself out there and be goofy and be you, and they can come talk to you about that if they need to. You don't make assumptions that they don't like you.
Yeah. And that's the assumption that jumps of like, they did it intentionally, like even if they didn't, and then I just sit in it and I don't know, like I just get pissed and I don't know how to like,
they don't really know you and they don't really see you is how you're feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
For your boundary is for you to say, okay, if I'm acting in alignment with my truth and with God made me to be goofy. God made me to be a connector at church. If I'm acting that way, then I'm going to act that way because that's what God needs me to do. And I'm going to be boundaried internally to not try to think I need to be a certain somebody or a certain thing for them. And if they have an issue with who I am, they can come talk to me, but I'm going to let that go so that I can be me.
Yeah.
Right. And do you see how that's going to heal some of that shame deep down that as an only child, you're supposed to be, there's pressure there, and you're supposed to be good and you're supposed to make people happy. And when you just go be authentic, you're kind of letting all that go and letting the people above you deal with it. Right. Yeah. So, it's kind of fun, interesting that we've gotten here with our conversation, Austin.
Yeah.
Could I share one more thought here? I know we're getting short on time, but you're like, how do I notice change happening? And I just, I've been sick all weekend. And so I've taken a lot of like hot baths trying to like cook the sickness out of me because for some reason I think that'll help. But, I get in the bath and the bath water is a certain temperature. And then I turn the water on slow, but really, really hot. And I sit there for an hour. And after an hour, I'm sitting in water that is so hot that I would never have been able to get into it in the first place. But now I'm just accustomed to it and it's just part of my bath. Right.
Yeah.
I think sometimes change is kind of like that too, where you're walking a path right now, you're identifying with certain principles, you're living a certain way, you're doing certain things, and you probably are having some changes happen in your life right now that you're not even really fully aware of. And they will only really manifest themselves if you were to kind of take snapshots of your current life compared to 1 year or 2 year or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And you'll end up seeing that, wow, there's actually some real change that is happening here. It's just happening as I work day to day towards being the best man I can be.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have been on a podcast like this 3 years ago.
Yeah, probably not. I don't even think I listened to podcasts 3 years ago.
No, not at all. Right. Like that's just it, is that you've been changing and growing all along, but because it's just been your life, you haven't noticed that change and growth. And yet there probably is some that's happening, that's active and alive right now inside of you.
Yeah.
So
there's been like stretches of thing. And by I mean like just not acting out, like not doing anything like that. But I don't know if this makes sense, but I just always feel like a open nerve. Like at any moment you could I just get set off, and that like freaks me out, and I hate that. And I just feel like exposed all the time, and I don't know how to build up that like resilience within myself, especially like having a newborn now. Like anger has been like through the roof of just like, why are you crying at 3 a.m.? Like you should not be crying at 3. Like no one wants you to cry at 3 a.m.
Me and Tyler laugh because we've been through it 4 times. So.
Dude, it's like, it's a good time. We love it. But yeah, just like, I just feel exposed all the time. And like, my wife is great. She's been amazing. And it's just kind of one of those transitions too. Like I want to be the best husband I can be, and like dad. And so, like really trying to just figure it out, I guess.
But a lot of that is not fighting against it, right? Like you became a dad like within the month. And so you're adjusting. There's going to be a lot of emotions. There's a lot of change. So instead of being like I shouldn't feel this way and I feel exposed and I feel like I could go act out, and no, I do feel this way. And this is part of life right now. I call it the combat years. You're just entering the combat years. And so to accept it with a growth mindset is way better than fighting it with a fixed mindset of, I shouldn't feel this way. These emotions shouldn't be this intense. It's, oh, that's interesting. I have them. Get curious with yourself, and allow yourself to learn and grow through those. You're much less likely to act out when you're not fighting against it. Right. Austin, I want to ask you, have you ever read Wild at Heart?
I have not read Wild at Heart.
You need to get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's right down your alley, man. Yeah. It'll be good for you.
Yeah. Cool. John Eldridge, he's the man, and Wild at Heart changed my life.
Me too.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I bring it up because it would be so applicable to your situation right now. And I think it would give you some of the answers that you were looking for today in our discussion. So, I don't know if we helped much today, Austin. In a lot of ways, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I'd say adjust kind of the intention from trying to be the perfect dad, trying to stop, looking at porn or whatever, the behaviors, and shift the intention to ultimately finding that deep peace within yourself and loving who you are as a man. Yeah. And everything you do, like, approach it from that angle.
I think what I heard from Brannon is the biggest takeaway to your question today was, how do I get what I'm learning in my head to sink into my heart? Is you start from the inside out with compassion for those parts of you. You find those false beliefs, and then go pick some fights with those things that you want to change. Like go find a spot. So put yourself back in church there and step on the field. You did that today by showing up on the show today. You did that. You're doing it right now. But go find those false beliefs and then go pick some battles and let that warrior inside of you step into those places. And maybe you get obliterated. Maybe you get hit in the face with a baseball and braces, a few times, but you know what? You never gave up on that. And you were able to play baseball. And same thing's going to be true with these battles. So I just want to also articulate my feelings that, you're a young, sharp guy on here. And I commend you for your willingness to take a look at yourself at the stage of life you're at and already be looking towards the manner of man you want to be. And it says volumes about the things you're committed to and the way you're trying to live your life at your current stage of life, man. And I just want you to know that I see that.
The light enters through the wound, and Tyler and I are sitting here kind of giddy a little bit because we know the good that you're going to do.
Oh man, you're radiant, dude. You are a force for good.
God needs you, and God needs you to face the pain and the fear and not let that take you down. because your light is going to be radiant and do a lot of good, Austin. So,
I want you on my team, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want you on the right side of the battle, and you are, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, you guys, thank you for listening today. If you found this helpful, please don't be shy to share it with somebody. And don't forget to give us a rating and a review. Thanks, guys. Have a good day. We'll see you later.